Every dream, every goal, every breakthrough begins with a single undeniable truth. Nothing happens until you move. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, hold no value unless they are acted upon. Intentions, no matter how sincere, remain useless unless they are followed by steps forward. You can wait for the perfect plan, the right moment, or the ideal conditions, but the reality is simple. Those things are illusions. They keep you stuck. They keep you hoping while the world moves forward without you. The power you seek, the transformation you crave, and the results you want do not live in your thoughts. They live in action. You don't need another reason to delay. You don't need more time to think. You don't need anyone's permission. What you need is movement. Even the smallest action carries more power than the greatest idea left untouched. It doesn't matter how uncertain you feel, or how unclear the path may look. Action generates momentum, movement changes everything, one step forward unlocks the next and the one after that. Progress is not a gift, it is a reward earned through effort. There is a silent lie the mind loves to tell, I'll start when I'm ready, but readiness is a myth. No one is ever fully ready. Waiting for the perfect mental state is how dreams die slowly. There will always be fear. There will always be doubt. The difference between those who build something with their lives and those who don't is not talent or luck, it's action. The ones who rise are the ones who move even while scared, even while unsure, even while uncomfortable. They understand something others don't. Action is the cure. When you force yourself to act, something shifts inside. You begin to realize that fear only had power in stillness, that doubt only made sense in your head, but when you take the first step, when you push forward despite resistance, you break the illusion, you create proof that you can move. And in that proof, your confidence begins to grow. Confidence is not something you wait for. It's something you earn, and you earn it by doing. Every leader, every champion, every powerful person you admire once stood where you are, uncertain, hesitant, doubtful. The only difference is they didn't stay there. They moved, and through motion they became stronger. Through effort they discovered their voice. Through action they shaped their identity. You can do the same. You are not stuck. You are not powerless. But you must be willing to force that first step when everything in you wants to wait. You'll never feel like it at first. That's the truth. But feelings are not the compass. Discipline is, willpower is, vision is. The beginning is never easy. It's not supposed to be. That resistance you feel, it's proof that you're standing at the edge of change. Push through it. Nothing worthwhile begins in comfort. Everything worth building begins in discomfort, in tension, in action taken against the grain of your excuses. Every second you wait, the gap between where you are and where you could be widens. Every day you hesitate, the future you want drifts further away. But every time you act, no matter how small the step, you reclaim your power. You train your mind to follow your command. You start proving that you are in control. You don't need to see the entire staircase. You just need to take the first step and trust that the rest will appear, because it will. Inaction is a slow death. It keeps you dreaming but never building. It keeps you wishing but never winning. If you want to feel alive, if you want to see what you're truly made of, move, push, act, force yourself into motion, and you will find something that cannot be discovered in stillness. Power. The power to change, to grow, to lead, and to live the life you know you were meant for. It all begins the moment you stop thinking and start moving. Comfort is seductive. It whispers lies that feel like safety. It tells you to wait, to rest, to stay where you are just a little longer. But the truth is, comfort is a trap. It quietly steals your potential while pretending to protect you. It dulls your instincts, softens your will, and convinces you that good enough is good enough. You begin to believe that it's okay to coast, that it's okay to delay your dreams, but the longer you stay comfortable, the further you drift from the life you were meant to build. Greatness doesn't grow in comfort. It is forged in effort. It is earned through discomfort, through sacrifice, through movement into the unknown. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you reinforce the habit of staying the same. Growth doesn't ask for permission. It demands pain, it demands risk, and it demands the courage to step into the unfamiliar. The mind will always look for the easy way out. It is designed to avoid pain, but leadership, discipline, transformation, these things live on the other side of difficulty. They don't come to those who sit back. They come to those who confront resistance and keep moving anyway. They come to those who feel the pull of comfort and still choose discipline. Discipline is not about feeling like it. It's about doing it regardless. It's about waking up when it's easier to sleep in. It's about working when it's easier to quit. It's about saying yes to your future even when your present screams no. Discipline is not glamorous. It's not easy, but it is powerful. It is the invisible force that separates the average from the exceptional, and it is the one thing you can always control, no matter your circumstances. When you train yourself to act in spite of comfort, you build the muscles of greatness. You train your identity, you teach your mind that your word means something, that you follow through, that you finish what you start. There will be days when comfort calls louder than purpose, days when your emotions try to override your goals. Those are the defining moments, not the days when everything feels good, but the days when everything feels heavy and you act anyway. Those are the days that build resilience. Those are the days that separate dreamers from doers. That moment when you want to quit but take one more step, that's the moment where character is formed. That's where champions are born. You must remind yourself that comfort is not the reward. It is the enemy of progress. And if you feed it, it grows. It becomes your default. It becomes your identity. And before long, you're not just choosing comfort for a moment. You're living a life of avoidance, wondering where your time went, where your courage disappeared, and why nothing changed. But if you do the opposite, if you fight through it, if you force action even when you don't feel ready, you reverse the pattern, you become someone who moves, someone who builds, someone who rises. The most dangerous moment is not when you're tired. It's when you're comfortable, because that's when you stop growing. That's when you stop reaching. That's when you settle for less than what you're capable of. But you were not built to settle. You were built to climb, to fight, to stretch beyond your limits. And that requires discomfort. That requires the discipline to choose effort over ease, even when no one is watching, especially then, because who you are when it's hard, that's the real you, and every time you push through, you write a new story. One where comfort doesn't win, one where your vision does. Thoughts are only potential. They hold promise, but not power. Without action, they mean nothing. You can spend years thinking, planning, analyzing, and imagining, but if none of it turns into effort, then none of it will ever turn into reality. This is where most people get stuck. They confuse mental activity with real progress. They think talking about a goal is the same as working toward it, but it isn't. Thinking gives you ideas. Action gives you results. You don't need more information. You need to act on the information you already have. You don't need more clarity. You need to move and let clarity form in the process. There is a comfort in thinking. It feels safe. You can imagine success without risking failure. You can dream without facing resistance. But dreaming doesn't move the needle. Action does. You can't think your way into discipline. You can't meditate your way into success. At some point, you have to make a decision, not a soft, vague wish, but a firm commitment. A choice that says, no more waiting, no more hesitation, I act now. That decision, when backed by action, is the most powerful tool you have. It separates the life you want from the life you're currently tolerating. So many people live in their heads, they replay ideas, they revisit strategies, they talk endlessly about what they could do or should do, but they never do it. Their entire existence becomes a loop of potential never activated. And deep down it eats away at them, because they know they're capable of more. They know they were built for something greater, but the longer they delay action, the harder it becomes to believe in themselves. The longer they stay stuck in thought, the more distant their dreams begin to feel, until one day they stop believing altogether. The only way out of that mental prison is movement. Action is the door. The moment you act, you break the cycle. You shift from passive to powerful, from potential to kinetic, and with every action you take, you build momentum. You begin to shape your future, not just imagine it. You collect evidence that you are capable, that you are committed, that you are becoming the person you were meant to be. Action is how you build a new identity. You're not just thinking like a leader, you're behaving like one. You're not just dreaming of success, you're working for it. This is the truth many run from. Ideas don't change lives, execution does. You can have the best plan in the world, but if it lives in your head, it's worthless. The world rewards results, not potential, and results only come from those willing to act again and again, even when it's hard, even when it's messy, even when it's imperfect, because progress never looks perfect. It looks like showing up. It looks like pushing forward when others stop. It looks like taking the step even when your legs shake. That is the real path forward. That is the path to everything you want. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop waiting for more confidence. The fastest way to confidence is action. The fastest way to learn is action. The fastest way to win is action. If you want to lead, move. If you want results, act. If you want a life that reflects your potential, you have to stop thinking about it and start building it. Nothing happens until you take control, and control begins the moment you stop letting thoughts be enough and force yourself to follow them with action. Discipline is the silent force behind every great life. It is not loud. It does not scream for attention. It works in the background, shaping everything. It is not always seen, but it is always felt in the results. When you look at someone who has built something powerful, someone who is focused, strong, respected, and moving forward, what you are witnessing is the outcome of years of discipline, not luck, not talent, but deliberate, repeated decisions to do what had to be done, whether they felt like it or not. Discipline is not about emotion, it is about choice. You choose to act, not because you're in the mood, but because your future demands it. Waiting until you feel like it is a trap. Most days you won't, that's reality. There will be days you are tired, days you are overwhelmed, days when everything in you screams to take it easy. But those moments are not setbacks, they are tests. They are invitations to rise above your temporary emotions and act anyway, and the more you do that, the stronger you get, the more you prove to yourself that you are not run by feelings, you are led by purpose. This is where transformation happens, not in the moments when it's easy, but in the moments when it's hard and you choose to move anyway. Discipline doesn't care about comfort. It's about consistency. It's about showing up again and again, especially when it's difficult, because every time you show up, you are reinforcing your identity. You are telling your mind, this is who I am now, and your mind listens. It adapts, it aligns. The more you act with discipline, the less energy it takes. What was once hard becomes automatic. What once took force becomes your default. That's how change happens. Not overnight, but through relentless repetition. The greatest enemy of discipline is the lie of delay. I'll start tomorrow. Just one day off. I deserve a break. These lies sound reasonable, even harmless, but they add up. They build habits of avoidance. And before you know it, you've lost momentum, you've stepped off the path, you've allowed your feelings to take the wheel, and they rarely drive you where you want to go. Discipline, on the other hand, anchors you. It keeps you steady when everything else feels chaotic. It keeps you focused when distractions try to pull you in every direction, and over time, it gives you something far more valuable than comfort. It gives you control. Control over your actions, control over your time, control over your future. That is what discipline builds. And it begins the moment you stop asking yourself how you feel and start asking yourself who you want to become. Your future is not built in a single moment of inspiration. It's built in 1,000 quiet decisions to do the right thing, even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. That is the essence of discipline. That is the root of all progress, and once you taste it, once you feel the power of acting despite your mood, you'll never want to go back, because there is a deep kind of pride that only comes from following through. A pride that no comfort, no shortcut, no excuse can ever give you. The pride of knowing you kept your word. The pride of knowing you are becoming the kind of person others can count on. But more importantly, the kind of person you can count on. That is what discipline gives you. That is what will carry you through the days when motivation is gone. And that is what will separate you from the masses who keep waiting for the perfect moment to start. You already have everything you need, now show it, move, do. Discipline is already inside you, waiting to be used. The mind has a habit of overcomplicating progress. It tells you that the journey is too long, the obstacles are too many, the odds are against you. It magnifies the distance between where you are and where you want to be, and the more you stare at that distance, the more paralyzed you become. But what the mind forgets is that success is not one giant leap. It's a series of small, intentional steps. You don't climb a mountain in a single bound. You take one step, then another. The same applies to anything worth having. No matter how big the goal seems, you can reach it by narrowing your focus down to the next move, the next task, the next action. Overwhelm is often just the result of focusing too far ahead. You look at the entire path, and it drains you. But if you can discipline your mind to focus only on what's directly in front of you, everything changes. One action, just one, done with full intensity, done with purpose, can create a ripple effect. That ripple builds momentum. That momentum builds belief. And belief is what carries you forward when logic and reason say you should stop. Action shrinks fear. Action quiets doubt. It replaces the noise in your head with clarity, not because everything becomes easy, but because your direction becomes unshakable. You don't need to figure out the whole plan right now. You just need to execute the next right move, that's all. You don't need to see the finish line. You just need to move your feet. That next phone call, that next workout, that next piece of writing, that next conversation. Every little piece matters. Every step you take in alignment with your goal sends a signal to your mind, we are doing this, we are not waiting anymore, and over time, the small actions compound into massive change. It's never about doing everything, it's about doing something, and doing it now. When you simplify your focus, you simplify your power. Instead of drowning in options, you zero in on execution. 1 hour of deep, focused effort can be more valuable than weeks of planning. One small task completed can unlock energy that planning never will. There's something about finishing, something about crossing that invisible line between intention and action that changes how you see yourself. You start building a track record with yourself. You stop being someone who just thinks, and become someone who follows through. That is the shift. That is the identity you must chase, not perfection, consistency, not brilliance execution. Even if the action seems small, do not underestimate its weight. Small things done consistently become powerful. They rewire your brain, they rewire your habits, they shape your reality. The world doesn't reward potential, it rewards progress, and progress is something you earn through execution. Every day you're faced with a choice: stay in thought or move into action. Stay in fear or move with courage. Stay stuck or take the next step. That choice might feel small, but it is everything. It is the foundation of transformation, and it is always within your control. You don't need to feel ready, you just need to move. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to begin. The mind wants to keep you thinking. It wants you analyzing and hesitating because those things feel safe, but nothing grows in hesitation. Growth lives in movement. The next action you take might feel small. It might feel insignificant, but if it moves you forward, it matters. If it's in alignment with your vision, it matters. And if you repeat it tomorrow and the next day, it becomes unstoppable. This is how things fall into place, not by accident, not by chance, but because you forced yourself to act when it was easier to delay, and you never stopped. The moment you begin to act, even in the smallest way, you awaken something powerful inside you. It's a silent shift. You stop waiting to be rescued and start realizing that you are the rescuer, you are the answer, you are the force capable of changing everything. It doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter how far behind you feel. The instant you take responsibility for your progress, your pain becomes your power. Action is the signal that you are done living in reaction. You're no longer at the mercy of fear, doubt, or circumstance. You're moving now, and movement is life, it is direction, it is energy, and energy is influence. The world responds to those who move with conviction, not to those who wait, not to those who hesitate. People follow clarity. They follow those who step forward while others stand still. It's not about being the loudest, it's about being the most committed, and commitment is always proven through action. You can't fake effort, you can't fake consistency. You show people who you are by what you do, not what you say. Every day you rise and move, every task you complete, every promise you keep, it builds trust. Not just from others, but from yourself. That trust becomes your foundation, and from that foundation you lead, you influence, you elevate. There is something magnetic about someone who takes action without waiting for perfect conditions, because deep down everyone wants to believe it's possible to rise from where they are, and when they see you do it, they feel it too. You become proof that it can be done, but that proof must be earned. It must be built with sweat, with patience, with relentless execution. You don't need to talk about what you're going to do. You need to do it so loudly that it doesn't need explanation. Let your actions speak before your words. Let your habits shout louder than your dreams, because when action becomes your language, the world will listen. Every step you take forward, especially the ones you force yourself to take, begins to unlock a version of you that's been buried under fear and comfort. You see glimpses of who you really are, not who the world told you to be. You see strength that was always there, but dormant. You begin to feel the power of ownership, of momentum. You stop looking around for permission and realize the only approval that matters is your own. The kind you earn by showing up, by grinding through resistance, by moving through your fear instead of away from it. That kind of power can't be bought. It must be earned, and once you taste it, you'll never settle again. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It's movement. It's the refusal to stay still when everything says to stop. The willingness to act when you feel nothing but uncertainty. Because that is the battlefield. That is where transformation happens, not in comfort, not in theory, but in the raw, imperfect reality of taking action when you don't feel like it. There is something sacred about that kind of effort. It reshapes your identity, it turns belief into proof, and once you've proven it to yourself, no one can take it from you, not the world, not your doubts, not even your past. So the next time your mind tries to convince you to wait, don't. Move, take the smallest step, do the simplest task. Prove to yourself that you are not controlled by hesitation, that you do not require motivation to move, that you act because it's who you are now. The more you do this, the more unstoppable you become, not because things are easier, but because you are stronger, and when that strength becomes consistent, everything around you begins to shift, not because life gave you a chance, but because you gave yourself one. Growth begins the moment comfort ends, but the mind resists discomfort. It craves what is familiar, even if that familiarity is what's holding you back. This is the silent battle happening inside you every day, the part of you that wants to evolve versus the part that wants to stay safe. And whichever side you feed wins. If you wait for comfort to disappear before you take action, you will be stuck forever, because discomfort never fully goes away. It follows every dream, every goal, every breakthrough. It's not a barrier, it's a signal that you are stepping into a new level, a signal that what you're doing matters, that you are no longer living on autopilot. Discomfort is the price of becoming, the price of stepping outside your current limitations, and when you begin to embrace it instead of run from it, you unlock a new power within yourself. You begin to see discomfort as a teacher, not a punishment. It sharpens you, it forces you to adapt, it reveals your weak points so you can strengthen them. That struggle, that resistance is where your next level is built. Without discomfort, there is no pressure. Without pressure, there is no growth. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to test you, because you are not building convenience. You are building character. Every time you choose the harder path, the one that requires effort, focus, and sacrifice, you separate yourself. You step out of the crowd. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by ease. You are moved by purpose. Most people avoid discomfort at all costs. They run back to what feels safe, even when it's slowly destroying them. But if you want to rise, you have to make discomfort your ally. You have to lean into it. When your body wants to quit, you push one more time. When your mind screams for relief, you breathe and keep moving. That is where transformation is forged, not in the moments you feel strong, but in the moments you feel like giving up, and choose to continue anyway. You must understand this truth. The person you are meant to become is already inside you, but they are on the other side of pain. On the other side of effort, on the other side of discomfort. You won't meet them by staying still. You won't meet them by playing small. You will only meet them when you rise, when you move, when you fight. That future version of you is waiting for you to stop negotiating with fear, to stop protecting your limits, and to start becoming what you've always known you could be. The pain you feel on the path is temporary, but the pride of growth is forever. Comfort is seductive, but it will lie to you. It will tell you that you have more time. It will convince you that tomorrow is a better day to start. But the truth is, tomorrow will feel just as hard, just as uncomfortable. The only thing that changes is your decision to face it or run. If you want a different life, you must make different choices. You must seek challenge instead of ease. You must welcome the struggle instead of avoiding it. Because everything you want, everything that will bring you pride, meaning, and purpose, lies just outside your comfort zone, and it will never come to you. You have to go to it. You don't become powerful by doing what's easy. You become powerful by doing what's necessary, even when it hurts, even when it scares you, even when no one else understands your fight. That willingness to endure, to persist, to stretch beyond what feels safe, that is what defines the few who rise while the rest remain. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your proving ground. It is where weakness is stripped away and strength is revealed. And the more you face it, the more you realize you were never fragile, you were simply untested. Now it's time to test yourself, not just once, but every day, until discomfort no longer controls you, but fuels you. Belief is the invisible force that drives every action you take. It is the foundation on which all progress is built. Without belief, action becomes aimless, like shooting arrows into the dark, hoping one will hit the target. When you truly believe in yourself, in your vision, and in your ability to overcome, your actions gain purpose and power. Belief fuels persistence when the path gets rough. It is the anchor that holds you steady when doubt tries to pull you under. But belief isn't something you find outside of yourself. It grows from within, nurtured by your daily choices to act, to push forward, and to refuse to give up. Many wait for belief to come before they act. They want to feel confident, certain, and inspired before taking a step forward. But the truth is, belief often follows action. not the other way around. You don't have to wait to feel ready or worthy. You build readiness and worthiness by showing up, by proving to yourself again and again that you can move despite fear and uncertainty. Every small victory, every task completed, every promise kept to yourself becomes a brick in the foundation of belief. Over time, what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. Your confidence grows because your results grow, and results are the best evidence of belief. Belief is not about blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is about an unshakable conviction that you will find a way, no matter the obstacles. It is the refusal to accept failure as final. When setbacks come, and they will, they do not define you unless you let them. Instead, belief reminds you that every failure is a lesson, every delay a chance to refine your strategy. When you act with belief, you transform obstacles into opportunities. You begin to see challenges as invitations to prove your strength rather than reasons to quit. This shift in perspective is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. It is the power of belief that keeps the fire alive when the world seems to be against you. Your mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will feed you doubts, fears, and excuses designed to protect you from pain, but belief is the rebel within you that fights against those lies. It is the voice that says, "Keep going," the voice that refuses to accept defeat. That voice grows louder every time you take action despite your fears. It grows louder every time you move through discomfort, and the louder it gets, the more unstoppable you become. Belief creates momentum. It creates resilience. It creates the unbreakable spirit necessary to turn dreams into reality. Belief is not just for you. It influences those around you. When you act from a place of genuine belief, you inspire others to believe in themselves. You become a beacon of possibility. People are drawn to that energy. They want to be near it, to learn from it, to be lifted by it. This is the ripple effect of belief. It starts within, but it doesn't stay there. It spreads, it grows, it changes communities, industries, and even generations. Your belief has power far beyond what you realize. It is a force that can change not only your life, but the lives of everyone you touch. The challenge is to nurture belief daily, to feed it with action, courage, and persistence, to refuse to let setbacks extinguish it. This is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong commitment. Every morning you choose to rise and move, you strengthen that belief. Every decision to keep going when quitting feels easier adds to your faith in yourself, and every time you remind yourself why you started, you reinforce your purpose. The path will not be perfect, the journey will not be smooth, but belief will keep you on course. It will keep your vision clear. It will keep your heart burning with the fire of possibility. So don't wait for belief to find you. Build it. Fight for it. Protect it with your actions. Let it grow with every step you take, because belief is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And once that bridge is strong, there is nothing that can stop you from crossing to the life you deserve. Discipline is the engine that transforms desire into reality. Without it, motivation is fleeting and dreams remain distant whispers. Discipline is not about harshness or self-punishment. It is about respect for your vision, your goals, and most importantly, yourself. It is the commitment to show up, day after day, even when the excitement fades and the challenges mount. Discipline creates structure out of chaos. It turns vague intentions into concrete habits. It is the daily practice of choosing what serves your growth over what comforts your momentary impulses, and this choice, repeated consistently, builds unstoppable momentum. Many misunderstand discipline as a rigid, joyless grind. But true discipline is freedom. It is the freedom to control your destiny rather than be controlled by distractions, procrastination, and excuses. It is the power to decide where your energy goes and to protect that energy fiercely. Discipline means setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. It means saying no to what derails you so you can say yes to what lifts you higher. The person who masters discipline masters their time, their focus, and ultimately their life. They become architects of their future rather than victims of circumstance. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and achievements because it enforces consistency. Talent and passion spark beginnings, but discipline sustains the journey. It keeps you on the path when the initial thrill wears off. It makes the difference between those who start and those who finish. When you cultivate discipline, you develop a rhythm that supports progress no matter what happens outside. Rain or shine, success or failure, motivation or doubt. Discipline is the steady hand that guides you forward. It transforms challenges into stepping stones and fatigue into resilience. Without discipline, even the brightest dreams can fade into regrets. Building discipline requires sacrifice. It requires trading short-term pleasure for long-term gain. It means waking up early when you'd rather stay in bed, focusing on work when distractions scream for attention, and pushing through fatigue when quitting seems easier. These moments are tests of your commitment. Each time you pass, your discipline strengthens. Each time you resist temptation and choose action, you prove that your future matters more than your current comfort. Over time, these small victories accumulate until they form a powerful habit, an unbreakable chain of progress that carries you to your goals. Discipline is not about perfection, it is about persistence. You will stumble, you will have days when focus slips and temptation wins, but true discipline is about getting back up immediately, without judgment, without delay. It is about forgiving yourself and moving forward with renewed determination. Every setback is an opportunity to deepen your commitment. Every failure is a lesson in resilience. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often just this, the ability to keep going no matter what. That is the power of discipline. That is the secret to turning dreams into reality. Discipline is a muscle that grows stronger with use. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to make the right choices. Soon, acting in alignment with your goals feels natural, almost automatic. This automaticity frees your mind to focus on bigger challenges and deeper growth. When discipline becomes your default mode, you no longer have to negotiate with yourself. Your actions become your identity. You become the person who does what they say they will do, who finishes what they start, who never lets fear or laziness dictate their future. This identity is priceless because it guarantees progress. The power of discipline is not only personal, it is contagious. When you show up consistently, you inspire others to do the same. You create an environment where action and growth are expected, supported, and celebrated. Discipline raises standards not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. It builds respect, trust, and credibility. It signals that you are serious about your goals and that you will not be stopped. This magnetic energy attracts opportunities, allies, and resources. The disciplined person does not wait for luck. They create it. They do not hope for success. They earn it. Discipline is the backbone of achievement because it is the daily act of choosing progress over comfort. It is the commitment to your future self. It is the refusal to settle for less than what you are capable of. Without discipline, even the greatest intentions fade. With discipline, even the hardest journey becomes possible. So embrace discipline not as a burden, but as your greatest ally. Feed it with action, protect it with commitment, and watch as your life transforms, step by disciplined step, into the reality you have always dreamed of. Patience is often misunderstood as passivity or waiting without purpose, but true patience is an active force. It is the calm strength to endure the process without losing faith in the outcome. Patience means trusting the timing of your journey, even when progress seems slow or invisible. It is the quiet confidence that your consistent efforts, no matter how small, are building momentum beneath the surface. This kind of patience is not weakness, it is resilience. It is the ability to hold steady in the face of frustration, to resist the urge to quit or rush, and to remain committed to your vision through every trial. In a world that demands instant gratification, patience is a rare and powerful virtue. We want results now, but growth rarely happens overnight. It is the accumulation of persistent action, repeated day after day, that transforms dreams into reality. When impatience creeps in, it threatens to derail everything you've built. It whispers lies that your efforts are useless, that success belongs to others but not to you. But these lies are traps set by doubt and fear. The patient person sees beyond the immediate moment. They understand that true progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. They stay steady, knowing that the harvest follows the planting, even if they cannot yet see the fruits. Patience is not passive waiting. It is an active process of preparation and faith. While you wait, you continue to work, learn, and grow. You sharpen your skills and deepen your understanding. You make the most of every opportunity, no matter how small. You embrace the struggle because you know it is shaping you into the person who can handle what you desire. The waiting itself becomes a vital part of your success story. It teaches you humility and perseverance. It forces you to refine your vision and your approach. It strengthens your resolve, so when the breakthrough comes, you are ready to seize it with both hands. Without patience, many give up just before their breakthrough. They quit at the moment when their persistence was about to pay off. This is why patience and persistence are inseparable allies. Patience keeps you steady, persistence keeps you moving. Together, they create unstoppable momentum. They prevent frustration from turning into surrender. They remind you that progress is rarely a straight line, and that setbacks are simply part of the journey. The person who masters patience does not lose hope when things get hard. They grow hope by continuing to act, one deliberate step at a time. Patience also deepens your appreciation for your own growth. When you rush, you miss the subtle but powerful changes happening within you. The patience to stay the course allows you to witness your transformation unfold. You become more aware of your strength, your wisdom, and your resilience. This self-awareness fuels further growth and deepens your belief in yourself. It turns your journey into a meaningful process, not just a goal to reach. You learn to trust yourself and the timing of your life. This trust becomes an anchor during difficult times, a source of peace and confidence that no external circumstance can shake. In cultivating patience, you develop emotional intelligence. You learn to manage frustration, to control impulses, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This control gives you power. It allows you to make better decisions, to avoid costly mistakes, and to stay focused on your long-term vision. The patient person becomes a calm leader of their own life. They do not allow temporary discomfort to dictate their future. Instead, they navigate challenges with grace and persistence. This poise attracts opportunities and allies. It commands respect and opens doors that impatience and haste would have slammed shut. Patience is not about waiting forever. It is about timing your actions with wisdom and perseverance. It is about knowing when to push and when to pause, when to act and when to reflect. This balance is the secret to sustainable success. When you cultivate patience, you build a foundation that can support great achievement without burnout or frustration. You create space for creativity, learning, and strategic growth. And in that space, you position yourself to receive everything you have been working for. Patience is the quiet force that ensures your efforts will one day culminate in victory. So embrace patience as your steadfast companion on this journey. Let it teach you endurance, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your faith. Know that every moment of persistence, every act of trust in the process, is moving you closer to your goal. When impatience tempts you to quit, remind yourself that growth is happening beneath the surface. Keep moving forward with steady, deliberate action, because in the end, patience does not delay success, it ensures it. And when everything finally falls into place, it will be clear that your patience was the key that unlocked the door to your dreams. Action is the bridge that turns dreams into reality. Without it, ideas remain just thoughts, and goals stay locked in the realm of possibility. You can plan endlessly, prepare thoroughly, and visualize vividly, but none of it matters unless you take decisive steps forward. Action is the tangible proof of your commitment to change. It is the moment when intention becomes movement, and movement creates momentum. This momentum carries you through obstacles, doubts, and setbacks. It transforms potential energy into kinetic energy, the force that propels you toward your destiny. Many wait for the perfect moment to begin, but the perfect moment rarely arrives. It is an illusion designed by fear and procrastination to keep you stuck. If you wait for everything to be ideal, perfect timing, perfect knowledge, perfect conditions, you will never start. Action demands courage, not perfection. It requires the willingness to begin before you feel ready, to take risks without guarantees, and to learn as you go. The key is to move despite uncertainty, to let your first steps be imperfect, knowing that progress comes from consistent effort, not flawless beginnings. Taking action forces you to confront your fears head on. When you act, fear loses its power to paralyze. It transforms from a shadow looming over your thoughts into a challenge you can face and overcome. Each step you take chips away at fear's control, building your confidence and resilience. Action creates a feedback loop. The more you act, the more you believe in yourself, and the more you believe, the easier it becomes to act again. This cycle breaks the chains of doubt and builds the courage necessary to push even harder toward your goals. Action also reveals what works and what doesn't. It provides clarity that no amount of thinking or planning can offer. When you act, you gather real-world feedback. You learn what strategies are effective and which need adjustment. This knowledge allows you to refine your approach and make smarter decisions. Without action, you remain stuck in theory and hope. With action, you gain experience, insight, and progress. It is through this trial and error that mastery is born and success becomes attainable. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to action is inertia, the overwhelming feeling of being stuck. But even the smallest action can break this paralysis. A single step, no matter how small, creates movement. Movement disrupts the status quo and ignites momentum. Momentum makes the next step easier, and the one after that even easier still. Soon, what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The key is to start, to force yourself to take that first step even when every part of you resists, because once you start moving, everything begins to fall into place. Action demands discipline and persistence. It requires a commitment to consistency, even on days when motivation is low. It means showing up and doing the work, whether you feel inspired or not. This consistency builds trust between you and your future self. It proves that you are reliable and worthy of the success you seek. The habit of action becomes your greatest asset. It transforms you from a dreamer into a doer, from a spectator into a creator. The act of taking action daily transforms your life in ways you cannot imagine until you begin. Moreover, action inspires confidence. Each achievement, no matter how small, reinforces your belief in your abilities. It creates a sense of progress and accomplishment that fuels further effort. Confidence is not something you are born with, it is something you build through action. The more you do, the more capable you feel. This confidence becomes a shield against doubt, fear, and negativity. It empowers you to take bigger risks, set higher goals, and push beyond limits you once thought unbreakable. Action connects you with opportunity. When you move forward, you place yourself in the flow of life's possibilities. Doors open, chances arise, and resources appear when you are actively pursuing your goals. The universe responds to motion. It rewards those who show commitment through action. Waiting and wishing keep you stagnant. Acting and striving set you on the path to abundance. The energy you put into your efforts attracts support, guidance, and breakthroughs. In this way, action is not just about what you do, it is about aligning yourself with the forces that make success possible. Ultimately, action is the defining factor between those who achieve their dreams and those who watch from the sidelines. It is the demonstration of courage, faith, and determination. When you force yourself to take action, you send a powerful message to yourself and to the world that you are ready to claim your destiny. You prove that you are not a passive bystander, but an active creator of your life. This is the moment where everything begins to shift. This is when everything starts to fall into place. Success is not a secret reserved for a chosen few. It is the natural result of persistent action, relentless faith, and unwavering belief. When you force yourself to act, even when the path is unclear, you step into a flow where everything begins to align. Doors open, opportunities emerge, and obstacles shift from barriers into stepping stones. This alignment is not magic. It is the natural consequence of consistent effort combined with an unbreakable mindset. The universe responds to those who refuse to wait and instead choose to move forward with courage. It rewards movement, persistence, and the refusal to quit. The truth is, life will never be perfectly timed, perfectly easy, or perfectly certain. Waiting for ideal conditions only delays your progress and dims your potential. Every moment spent hesitating is a moment lost forever. The only way to create the future you want is to act now, to push through doubt, fear, and discomfort. This is the secret that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. They do not wait for motivation. They create it through action. They do not wait for clarity. They gain it through experience. They do not wait for permission. They give it to themselves by deciding to move. When you choose to force yourself into action, you build a momentum so powerful that resistance becomes futile. Momentum is the energy that fuels growth. It is the force that carries you through difficult times and propels you toward your dreams. Once momentum takes hold, success accelerates. Small actions compound into massive results. Confidence grows, obstacles diminish, and the path forward becomes clearer. The energy you invest in action creates a ripple effect, influencing every area of your life. Momentum is the key to unlocking your highest potential. Remember, action is not always comfortable or easy. It requires sacrifice, discipline, and courage. You will face setbacks, doubt, and moments of fear, but these challenges are not signs to stop. They are signals to push harder. Every challenge you overcome strengthens your character and sharpens your focus. It prepares you for the success that awaits. The willingness to endure discomfort and keep moving separates those who achieve from those who settle for less. The reward is not just success itself, but the person you become in the process. Ultimately, forcing yourself to take action is an act of self, love, and respect. It is saying yes to your dreams, yes to your potential, and yes to the life you deserve. It is a commitment to honor your purpose and refuse to settle for mediocrity. This commitment becomes a beacon, attracting everything you need to succeed: people, opportunities, and resources. When you act with this level of determination, you align yourself with a greater force that supports your growth and guides you toward fulfillment. As you move forward, keep in mind that success is a journey, not a destination. It is built one step at a time, through countless decisions to act despite fear and uncertainty. Celebrate every small victory, learn from every setback, and stay focused on your vision. Know that every effort you make is a vital part of your story, one of courage, resilience, and transformation. The more you force yourself to take action, the more everything will fall into place, creating a life beyond what you ever imagined possible. So commit now to take that step, to make that call, to write that page, to speak that word. Push yourself beyond comfort, beyond doubt, beyond hesitation, because when you do, the universe responds. When you do, your purpose ignites. When you do, everything falls into place. This is your moment. This is your power. Take action now, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes.